Hello everyone, I'm Morg and I make minis in HeroForge. This week's mini that we are looking at is not gonna be this mini, it's not gonna be Ellio, it is gonna be a rework of Ellio. I decided to rework Ellio a little bit, mostly because I felt like I could do like a much better job with the face than whatever I did here. Ellio is a circus performer with an actor feat and a magical hat of disguises that allows them to change their appearance to whatever they want it to be. So they were an excellent spy, and they were a glamour bard, which was particularly infamous for their magical mushroom trips into the Faewild. And I felt like while Ellio does abuse substances, I just didn't feel like this bottle here and this thing here, so whatever liquid is there, I don't feel like it quite felt Ellio-ish enough, let's say. And I kind of wanted to lean a little bit more into the mushrooms and the magic of the Feywild. And I also wanted to rework Ellio because they were a very, very, very horny bard. Player that played Ellio was played a very classic horny bard, let's say. And personally, I don't really like the horny bard trope because I feel like it's very often awkward, you know? It's like, dude, we're already playing D&D, so we don't have to make this more awkward than it is. But I kind of wanted the horny bard um, to portray it in a bit of a different light and to make it feel a little bit more sensual, a bit more fun, a bit more atmospheric, maybe to make you feel like you are the person that is getting seduced uh, by Elio. And this is the finished version of Elio. Um, as you can see, I did quite a lot in this model. Well, except I guess Elio is wearing less clothes, you know, but like, that's kind of the point. Um, and I just also thought it would be a bit fun to like give her this sort of a red scarf around the neck. I don't usually use this one, so it was kind of refreshing in a way. So I kept their hat. It's in their hand, right here. And I also kept their rapier. The rapier is here at the side. Don't worry, they still have their shoes. They're not homeless completely. Um, they just have them underneath the tree trunk. And the tree trunk was the absolute first thing that I wanted to base Elio around. You can see in the absolutely first version of Elio, I just made them like plunk down on the tree, you know, and um, it's actually pretty difficult thing to. While it may look like it's like an easy thing to like pose somebody in HeroForge, it can be difficult. Like it can take a lot of time, especially legs, because you have to do it with kit bashing and the pro version of HeroForge. Uh, so yeah, it was just like a lot about adjusting the body proportions so that they fit on the tree just right. And then it was a lot about like adjusting legs, like so, like so, like so that it looks as natural as possible. And I'm particularly happy with the posing. um, I also really like this sort of a light touch that I gave Elio, just like barely sort of touching their their head. You know, Ellio's got that sensual touch. The eyes are quite like big because I assume Ellio did have something from this repertoire here. I also made the hand like wrap around the branch. I guess this is arguably a bit of a innuendo, but you know. One of the things that I wanted to change about Ellio was the face. Um, this face looks arguably like more generically looking as opposed to the old face, but Ellio was kind of a generically beautiful person, you know, so I feel like this is more accurate to the character than what I had before. And the other thing is the hair. You know, I'm very proud of the hair, and I'm very proud of the hair because when you think about HeroForge and hair, you can see that Elio here is lying down, and the hair is being pulled down by the gravity. When you put a hairpiece uh, in HeroForge on somebody, the hair is, of course, never affected by the gravity. And I'm really proud of this hair because it looks normal. You know, that's the most important thing. Like this model looks really normal. And we're talking about HeroForge here. And this hair really blends in so nicely together, but you cannot even tell that this hair is made out of uh, 6 different separate pieces of hair. So I'm really happy how the hair turned out. Almost can't even tell. One of the things I want to also talk about are these mushrooms. And I feel like fungrills are one of the best things that happened to HeroForge, honestly, because with fungrills, you are able to like put mushrooms growing on their arms, on their legs, but instead of like putting these sort of pieces on people, I found myself with kid bashing more often than not putting these mushrooms into the environment. And they really help make the environment feel more alive. It's gotten to such a bad point for me that I almost always include these mushrooms because they just look incredible in the environment, and you almost can't even tell that these are like separate pieces. They just like blend in so freaking well. Uh, like I couldn't even tell that this thing here was connected to this, you know? And it's just incredible how well these mushrooms look. And I think I just almost always include some mushrooms in my builds right now, and it really just makes me wish we had like very similar equivalents to these mushrooms, but we had, for example, something like a flower bed, maybe like a flower bed you could put on people's arms, or like moss but you could put on people's arms, and then I would not use put it on people's arms, but I would start putting it in the environment. We did get recently like some flowers and stuff in Hero Forge, but it's not particularly good. Like I tried them and it's too much work. It's not very good. Um, but these mushrooms, man, these mushrooms, they just like blend in so well. And we also have like so many variety of mushrooms that we can make like awesome mushroom environments with HeroForge. Let's just try to give the same treatment to like plants and stuff. I would love to see it. Would love to see it with flowers. Speaking of which, I would love to see a lot more stages as well, and a lot more bases. Like I feel like the current bases that we have, it could be expanded. Like I would love to see a base which is like a flower bed. I would love to see a base which is like a leaf bed. I would love to see a base which has like maybe lava flowing through it, or like something that looks a little bit volcanic or magmatic. That would be really lovely. I would also love to see just straight up ice, you know? You could have like an ice base and have like an ice skater on top of it. And I think that would be really lovely, but like, I don't know, like, I don't remember the last time HeroForge updated anything about these bases. And I'm not talking about these sort of bases, which like put your character on top of like some rocks or something like that. I don't want that. I just want something that just like which is flat and that I can like build on and add more stuff. Because building environment is like one of the fun things, and like just putting all that detail in for me is satisfying and fun. There's also like a small detail with the jewelry here. The way I do jewelry is I just like downsize it, because if you put it with a hero forge, it's like too big. So just downsize it and then kit bash it in. That's your best bet. For the portrait, I decided to give Ellio a bit of a space theme. Well, kind of like a space mushroom theme, you could say. Like these little thingies in the background, they kind of look like motes of dust, but they also kind of like look a little bit starry, like stars in the distance, but they also maybe look a little bit like fungal spores, you know. So I figured that would be like a bit of a fun detail. Maybe we can also mention the lights that we have around Ellio. So we have two lights around Ellio. One is here, and it's sort of a greenish glow here. I kind of imagine this greenish glow maybe coming from these mushrooms a little bit. You know, if we turn it off, it looks like this. When we turn it on, it looks like this. And then we have a second light right here. And this one has more of a dark blue, light blue glow. So if we turn it off, it looks like this. And when we turn it on, it looks like this. Yeah, just like a small light uh, glow, which adds a little bit more magical atmosphere into the mix. The grass, I kind of want to. I guess I imagined the Faewild to be a bit of a like pinkish, purplish grass. I don't know how photosynthesis works in the Feywild. So I guess I don't know. Maybe the Feywild is just like a green verdant paradise instead of a pink paradise. Really like this model. It is relatively simple and it looks normal. And that's what I like about it. That it looks normal in the world of HeroForge. Alright. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care and bye bye.